What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned to B-Boy 45 broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios, and it is another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, why is this a special edition?
Because Clark Gregg is calling in.
Clark Gregg, all right!
Wow.
We are so glad to have you. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm okay. Doing okay today. I recently adopted a new puppy.
Oh, look how cute.
She's down there sleeping, so, things could be worse.
Awesome. Well, Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so my first question for you is who or what inspired you to start acting?
Wow, right off the bat, good question.
She doesn't mess around.
Wow, it inspired me to start acting. That's a really good question. I think there's a thing, sometimes people who end up being actors, you scratch the surface and they have a little bit of a history of being a class clown. So an entertainment, enjoying, jokes and stuff, probably where it started. But then I was a little kid in the 70s and there were some incredible movies. And I saw some performances, specifically a couple of Jack Nicholson performances, a movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Chinatown. And I don't know, I just thought, and also, I don't know, Star Wars, Superman, things like that. I just decided, some part of me just got it going. I thought, boy, that would be an incredible way to make a living.
Cool. So I love the new adventures of old Christine. It's so funny and it always puts me in a good mood. Did you ever have to do multiple takes of scenes because it was so hard not to crack up?
Honestly, Maya, I don't think there was a time I didn't have to do multiple takes of scenes. I mean, between Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Wanda Sykes and Hamish Linklater and all the incredible actors on that show, Emily Rutherford, and there's a live audience, and the atmosphere is a little bit silly. And what you were looking at sometimes with other people doing, I couldn't help but laugh. Or if I even knew I had something really funny coming up, because we would do one take of the scene or two until they got it right. And then the writers would huddle up and they'd come over and say, okay, now this time she's going to say this and you're going to say that. And it would always be a really funny new joke. So it was really hard to get through it without laughing.
So you've been in so many different things. Is there a character that you related to the most?
Wow, man, these are good, Maya. Wow, I haven't thought. The one I related to the most. I mean, I guess you could say that there's a genre of slightly sarcastic people who have agent in their name. I played Agent Mike Casper, an FBI liaison on West Wing, and he was kind of efficient and funny. And certainly Agent Coulson has been an awful lot of fun to play. And there's a way where he's making fun of, people in capes and stuff, but he also really believes in it all and really cares. And I think I have those two sides.
Cool. Yeah, my next question was actually about Agent Phil Coulson. So you play him in the Marvel Universe. What's it like to be a part of that world?
It's been an incredible journey. It was just getting off the ground when I got hired to play this guy in Iron Man. And I knew that something special was going on just because watching Robert Downey and Gwyneth and Jeff Bridges and that amazing cast, and knowing what Iron Man was supposed to be like from reading comics as a kid, I thought this is not like anything I've ever seen. And then I went to a very early screening and saw, even with just kind of animated visual effects, what Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel had put together, and I thought, wow, this is a very different form of a comic book movie. So to be there and watch all those phases go to just kind of raise the game one step at a time, all those terrific movies, and to meet Thor, and then to meet Black Widow, come on, and Bruce Banner, stop it. As a kid, the kid inside of me almost couldn't take it. So, and then to go and, be the first Marvel TV show and do 150 episodes of that for almost 7 years. I really had and then right toward the end of that to say, oh, you know what? We're doing a Captain Marvel movie. It takes place in the 90s. We're going to young you and Sam Jackson up. Every time I think I've done it all there's always one more fun thing to do. So it's been really one of the funnest things I ever got to be part of.
Cool. So I love Captain Marvel. Was it fun to go back in time and visit the origin of Agent Coulson?
I mean, it was really fun. Like I said, every time I think I've gotten to do everything there is, oh, guess what? Here's going to be younger Phil Coulson, early days, and we see how him and Samuel Jackson become friends and why Samuel Jackson believes in him. And P.S. you get to look younger and have a lot more hair. That was really fun. And I'm a big Brie Larson fan, so I loved getting to work with her again.
Cool. Yeah, my sister and I went to see Captain Marvel together, and she's seen like every Marvel movie, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen all of them.
Whoa, Maya.
Don't worry, she's seen all the episodes of
right.
New Adventures of Old Christine, so you're good.
You know what? That's better.
So there were some things in Captain Marvel that I didn't really understand. So after the movie, my sister and I were just sitting in the theater and she was explaining it all to me.
That's what my sister does to me, even when I don't want her to.
Sisters.
Yeah.
So your very first screenplay was the supernatural horror movie, What Lies Beneath. Where did you get the inspiration to write that?
My inspiration was mostly how badly I needed a job. The idea itself came from DreamWorks Studios. They had a kind of brief idea that ostensibly had come from Steven Spielberg himself. And they told me that idea, and I was about to drive across country from New York to Los Angeles. And so I had a lot of hours to stare at the freeway and try to come up with a way to make it into a movie. And an amazing executive named Nina Jacobson, who went on to make Hunger Games movies and a lot of amazing stuff. She hired me, and together we worked on getting that script to become that movie. It was really fun.
Cool. So you were in the thrillers When a Stranger Calls and Spinning Man, as well as the horror movie Run, Sweetheart, Run. What draws you to these genres of movies?
It's funny because I get very involved in whatever I'm watching to the point where people make fun of me. So even though I wrote that and have been in those, it's hard for me to watch them because even though I was there, I get really scared. And sometimes I have to leave the theater. It's just physical. I get very, I don't know. It's like it's really happening. It's a kind of movie, a genre of movie that's really stayed popular. And Jason Blum's company, Blumhouse, made this movie, Run, Sweetheart, Run, which I think is going to come out streaming perhaps pretty soon, with a really wonderful female director and a female lead, a woman, Ella Balinska, and who was in Charlie's Angels. And it was one of the things that they're doing that's really interesting to me is, as they did in Get Out, they're taking horror or thrillers and putting social issues in the middle of them in a way that's really interesting. And that's what Run, Sweetheart, Run is very much about, a woman who is dealing with a predator.
Cool. Yeah, so you've spoken out before about your anxiety, which I and so many other patients at the hospital appreciate. And so you've said that it's your superpower. How do you use anxiety as a superpower?
I said that?
Yeah.
She does her homework, I promise.
So here's I think that you're talking about a video I did for the Child Mind Institute. It's true. A lot of times when your body and your mind have anxiety, it's not a choice. It's just the way your body or your system reacts to things. And sometimes it feels very exaggerated and it's really hard to manage. And you kind of wish it would go away, because it's so difficult to deal with, especially I've certainly had moments of it here. And sometimes you don't even know why your body's doing that or what your inner self is feeling anxious about, or sometimes you do. And the way that I've had success dealing with it after many years was by not wishing it to go away. Because a lot of things, the more you try to wish them to go away, the stronger they get. And you almost have a fear of feeling anxiety over anxiety over anxiety, and it starts to just get worse and worse and worse. And so what I started to do was to try to think about anxiety a little bit differently as just something that's part of me. It's even a little bit like what happens to me when I go to a movie. There are ways that some part of me is really, I call it porous, which is like when things flow through things, like something that water can just rush through. A piece of fabric is porous. And I think that the same things that make that anxious feelings difficult for me, it comes from a place where, by accepting that part of me and recognizing that that same part of me is what allows me to be sensitive to other people's feelings and to be aware of what's going on with other people around me, that sensitivity, I think, is a superpower. Empathy comes from there, and connection with people, and an ability to connect with an audience and to tell stories. So instead of wishing the anxiety would go away, I recognize that it's there, and it's probably always going to be there, and that it's also the source of something that I'm proud of.
It's a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
And to think about it.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real-life superhero and why?
That's a really good question. So that changes all the time. Right now, I'm going to say today, my real-life superhero is my daughter, Stella, who is 18 years old and a senior at Archer School for Girls here in Los Angeles. And she didn't get to have a prom, and she didn't get to have a graduation. Her graduation's going to be online. And she's still having her feelings and feeling sad about it, but finding a way to connect with her friends online and focusing on being ready if she decides to go to university in the fall. And just her attitude and the way that she's, I wouldn't say not letting it get her down, because it does make her feel down sometimes, but she still did the work and is finishing out. This is her last week of school. So just to see the way she's taking that real blow and not feeling sorry for herself and making it something she can grow from, I'm really admiring right now. It's a great question. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I finished school last week, and my sister finishes it this week, and I had like kind of a mini panic attack after I finished. I was like, now what am I gonna do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What grade did you finish?
11th, so junior year.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a couple of months before to figure out what to do with, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, there's a lot of heroes right now, and every time I watch the news and I see the people who are showing up, whether they're delivering food or delivering packages to people who are trapped in their houses, or they're showing up to a hospital or a veterans hospital, knowing full well that the people they're about to go be with for hours and hours have the virus. Just those regular everyday heroes. I think they're superheroes to me, and I'm really in favor of anything that helps them get the support and the financial support they need.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm so starstruck right now. I don't think it's really sunken in what just happened.
Wow, that's funny. I'm starstruck, Maya, so we can both geek out over each other a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good summer and you stay busy somehow.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.